You know what the best joke on the internet is right now? Apparently, Crunchyroll is going to use AI in order to replace the localizers. So everyone is happy. But what if I tell you that the AI they want to use is Gemini? Like, even the localizers aren't that woke. But all jokes aside, we need to make a difference between localizers and translators because sometimes they're one and the same. Other times they're different people with different functions. So, for instance, I'm making a video game and I want to sell it to Japan. Now, if I was a big studio and I could afford it, first of all, you get a translator and then you get the localizer. So the translator can be a person that doesn't really understand Japanese culture. Like, he hasn't lived in Japan, he doesn't know the customs. He's just a person that speaks the language. The localizer, however, is going to look at the translations and he's going to say, okay, well, this character is a teenager. Teenagers don't speak like this, they use slang. And they're going to try to adapt the dialogue to make more sense with the character. And they also have an important role to play in censorship. Because yes, Japan does censor. So for instance, if my video game had references to the atomic bomb or nuclear stuff, the localizer would tell me. It would be like, hey, you can't have this in your game because you're going to create a controversy over there. He would also say you need mosaic censorship, for instance, right? Like, if you want to put it on this website, this is their requirements. So that's what, like, a localizer theoretically does. Unfortunately, the American ones, and only the Americans ones, right, only from the Anglosphere, because you don't have the same issue with Romanian localizers or French localizers. No, it's only the Anglospheres. They decided to import their ideology as if it's normalized in the United States. Like, as if every single person agrees with woke ideology. So in an anime where you have, like, someone saying, you're an idiot, their localizers will translate it. It's like, you're a cisgender, heteronormative, sick, disgusting, white MAGA supporter. You know, like, that's pretty much why the internet is outraged. They will also use, like, a lot of Zoomer terms that aren't really popularized in the lexicon. They will use words like, you're a Chad, you know, like all of this nonsense. And this is why people are upset. But it's important to point out that these companies desire these individuals. I guess, like, the way it's treated on the internet is as if Japanese companies have no idea, like they're completely clueless of what the localizers are doing, which to a certain extent it may be true for some companies. But, like, when you're talking about Japan, okay, like, most people do speak some English. They learn it in school. Sure, you know, like, some Japanese people that you meet online, they may refuse to speak English or they say they don't know. But the reason they say this is because they aren't comfortable speaking English unless, like, they're perfect at it. I saw many Japanese people who do know English. They're just afraid to talk with it. And this is a huge problem because most people, that's how they learn, right? Like, you learn a little bit in school and then you start talking with foreigners and you get more proficient at it. Japanese people don't do that because, like, in their language, there's this huge deal about misunderstandings, right? So, like, they try to avoid misunderstandings as best as possible. And they believe that if they don't master the language and they make a mistake, it's going to be like a colossal thing. Like, the gaijin is never going to forgive them. So most Japanese people do know English. They are aware of what people say on Twitter. They are aware of the controversy. But they hire these localizers nonetheless. Many times they hired them because they're like a contractor, if you will, like a consultant. And they want to apply for their own ESG loans, but, like, that's not really the main issue because the ESG loans are a recent thing. More often than not, they want the Western streaming services to accept their anime, right? So now the biggest danger is that Crunchyroll has absorbed Funimation. Crunchyroll has a monopoly on the market. So what they really can do is they can say, well, you want your anime here, these are our terms of service. Steam does the same, but Steam is not woke, right? So, like, for instance, if you want to sell a game on Steam that has racismus in it, and it's like, I guess, like a political take on your personal preferences, and you're being very disparaging to certain groups of people, Steam can ban your game. right? So they will say, well, you made a great video game. I mean, it's your right. You got free speech and all that, but not on our platform, right? Now Funimation the Crunchyroll can do the same, but with their woke takes. They can even demand things. They can even say, well, you need to have at least one gay character in it. You need to have like at least one black character in it. They're not doing this now, but I can definitely see them do it 2 or 3 years in advance. So like, I want you to place yourself into the shoes of a Japanese company, right? Like, your goal is to make money. They're not ideologically driven like the West. They have their own ideologies, but like, your goal is to make money. So if you want to make money, you gotta sell in the West. Like, that is it. Like, piracy doesn't give you any profits, right? Like, it doesn't matter like if people make some fan subs and they're shipping it into the West. No, like, you need to make a contract with a Western streaming service, because chances are you can't afford to make your own. So you gotta do contracts with the West, right? Which is now Crunchyroll. And they will flat out tell you, it's like, okay, well, if you wanna have your anime here, hire our localizers, like hire our consultants, and they're going to make sure that your anime is fit for our platform. China does literally the same, and you can see the effects with Hollywood movies. As I mentioned in many other videos, like you notice how every single TV show has gay representation in it, because it is required by Netflix, Amazon. Like, they flat out state this in their public websites. However, Hollywood movies do not. Like, there's almost no big blockbuster film that has any gay characters in it. And the reason for it is because China censors, right? So like, China says, you want to sell your American movie, your Western movie into China, you got to listen to our localizers. You got to listen to our censors. So Hollywood does it because they want to make money, right? China pays its homophobia tax. And a similar system, except it's not going to be government run, it's going to be run by Crunchyroll. I assume they're going to be the one, because they almost have monopoly at this point. And they're going to have like, yeah, you wanna sell it on our platform, which is like the main Western distribution platform. You gotta hire our localizers, and they will make sure that your anime fits with our terms of service. They're going to make sure that you're going to be politically correct, right? Like, don't make these jokes. Have these issues, because they will also have requirements, not just things that you're not allowed, but things that you must have in. And of course, there's going to be anime studios that do this, and they're going to make a lot of money. And anime studios that don't do this, and they're going to not make money, and they're going to go bankrupt. This is the future that I foresee, not the future that I want. But this is how I see things are going to go in 4 or 5 years. And it's all due to the fact that you now have a Western company, an anime streaming company, that has almost a monopoly on the streaming in the West. Now, is it a good thing that they're using AI in order to generate subtitles? They're going to replace the translators, but they're not going to replace the consultants. The consultants are still going to be there regardless of how the subtitles are made. They also say, oh, well, this is going to fight against piracy. People pirate, especially anime nowadays, when it's so easy to obtain them legally, right? Like, it's so easy to go on Crunchyroll and see them. They do this because they want to avoid the ideological bullshit. I don't think that Crunchyroll is going to get rid of the ideological bullshit, and this is based on their track record. This is based on people who work there and what they post on Twitter, and I can see what ideology they're supporting. I remember that there was a very popular anime, actually 2 of them. Wasn't it Legacy of the Shield Hero or Goblin Slayer? I forgot which one. It created a controversy among the left, right? Because it had certain themes that they didn't like. And those animes weren't considered for the best anime of the year, despite the popularity. I may be wrong, like one of them may have been, but I'm pretty sure the other one hasn't. It's just... Anyway, like you get to see things like this, like small virtue signals here and there. Like, you notice that the seeds are planted, and that's the way that they're going to go forward, regardless if they're losing money or not. Because a lot of grifters in the West have tried to get their claws on anime for a long time, and this is how they're going to do it, right? Like, incentivizing censorship through paying people. Like, okay, you censor, we put you on our platform and you're going to make millions, is a great way to do it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.